Hey guys, how's it going? It's Philip with Trade Genius. Before we get into our weekly outlook, looking ahead at the week and looking at technical levels for Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, just want to remind you guys that we do have our specials running till the end of the month. Just under 3 days left on those. And if you want to get into the room, you could select this package here, and that'll get you both our ETF room and our binary option room with those crypto signals that we're showing on our charts that are hitting really well. So just thought I'd run that by you guys. All right, let's dig into the charts. So basically with Bitcoin, if we look at the daily chart, okay, we're still consolidating, just really been consolidating in this area, and we'll get into the smaller time frames, but you know, this just really going sideways to an extent that we really haven't seen that type of sideways action for quite some time. You'd have to go back to a period in October where you might have seen something similar to that, but we were coming off of a bottom too. So as far as pulling back and going sideways, we haven't really seen, you know, again, you'd have to go back to kind of the December time frame to look for periods of times where it took, you know, fairly, you know, say 1 to 2 weeks of pretty much sideways action. Because even though we've come down from the top and we've been pulling back, you know, for better part of a month, we've been moving though up and down, and so now we're kind of just been going sideways. So haven't really seen that muted action for you know, this has been going on for over 10-11 days now, kind of more or less in the same level. So basically looking for this to end, and we're going to end by breaking out is basically the chart read here. Now if we drill down to the 4-hour, let's see, let's look at our new indicator, our swing indicator. So we do have a buy signal in chop. Those can be really good setups to move out of that. But basically, one thing that worked or happened over the weekend was we broke this downtrend line. So that was a good, but we are capped, and we can go down to smaller time frame here. Let's go to the hourly. So basically we have, and I got the candle counter here, we are on a 9 count on the downside. So you can see where we hit a 9 on the upside, and then we sold off, and now we've got a 9 count here on the hourly. So that, and we are into a smaller fib buy zone here. So right now we're at about 11, just over 11,000. So chances are we take a ride back up, cycle back up. We are oversold on all the indicators on the hourly, and so we haven't really seen RSI this low since back here on the 26th, and that produced a move from that level up from 10,400 roughly to the high of 11,700. So definitely take note when you see those technicals dipping down like that. Plus we have a 9 count here, which works pretty well with Bitcoin, and then the technicals in a fib buy zone and this trend line. So pretty good case for a bounce there. This trend line is, we can zoom out here, it's kind of holding this current consolidation up. If that were to break down, I'd be looking at 10,000 again to possibly be a floor, and that would be contained in this level here. You know, we have this support line at 10,000 and the support line at 11,700. Now this is dollar-based markets, right? This is Coinbase. Over the weekend we saw the tether-based markets actually move about, I want to say, in some cases, $500–600 higher. And the reason for that was Tether, they dissolved the relationship with their auditor, and there might have been some panic and people getting out of Tether back into Bitcoin, then maybe moving their Bitcoin to an exchange to get into some real dollars. So I think that was part of it. That price differential has come down quite a bit, so that knee-jerk reaction has probably subsided for now, but still some questions on the Tether markets. All right, so that's basically Bitcoin. You know, we're looking for a bounce here in the next, I would say, in the next few hours, and that would take us into probably at least a day's worth of bounce up, I would imagine, maybe more. Because like I said, the last time we got a setup like this, we had a pretty decent move up. Ultimately, we'd be looking at this upper trend line, which would take us to about 12,250 or so. That would probably be the extent of that move, and then maybe, you know, pull back down, unless we got a really large move up where the buyers really came back in force. But haven't really seen that yet. But usually when that thing happens, it just comes out of nowhere, and it's a freight train. So you just have to keep that in the back of your mind. Bitcoin, I think, is kind of lulling the markets to sleep to a certain extent, and it does that sometimes. But most people, because of the volatility, haven't been used to that, so probably getting restless. All right, let's take a look at Ethereum. Ethereum's had a really good run up, all-time highs here at 14, almost $1,420, $1,419.96. And now in this area here, what we were keying in on, we covered that. We were saying this is a bearish divergence because we're making a new high, but we weren't seeing that on the technicals. And we did pull back. This is part of the broader crypto space pullback, and we'll look at the market cap here in a little bit. Actually, we can look at it now. That was here. So basically this dump. And remember here we said let's go shopping, and then we had a nice bounce up. And I think this is going to consolidate a little bit more and then continue higher as we get out of January. And keep in mind, seasonally, January is a weak month. All right, back to Ethereum. So essentially what we have here is it broke above this bear fib zone. So this was from this range here of coming down and then bouncing up. And usually these bear fib zones kind of put a lid on price. So that's already kind of happened. And now it's broken above. And I suspect that this will probably hold this trend line and then move higher. So it's looking pretty bullish here. I don't see anything wrong technically on the daily. It's coming out of oversold and moving up, so you're going to probably ride it up to here. And so it's looking pretty good on the daily. The signal here is basically was to close this long position here. So that was that ride up. And so I suspect we'll probably get a signal firing soon if this trend maintains. All right, so if we want to look at some smaller time frames, 4 hour, getting to a point of a buy signal, like, and these dips on the stochastics have been pretty good. So once the stochastic turns up, like here and here and here, you know, those are great entries. So keep that in mind. So we'd be looking for a little bit more down, pull back, and then up. So I think you could probably catch a nice swing there on Ethereum for this week. All right, let's look at Litecoin. Litecoin, I remember talking about Litecoin over here, saying that, you know, historically speaking, Litecoin likes to just pop and then kind of wander back from whence it came. And I got a bunch of feedback about how that's not going to happen, and it's just doing it really slowly. I think, you know, can it get to 100? Yeah, I honestly don't think it would break 100 if it did. But if we look at like where the volume is on this stuff, bring up the volume profile here. So you can see there's a strong case for 100. There's also a strong case for this level that we're starting to get into. So my personal belief is that we'll probably consolidate some more in this area. So this is going to be this sub 200 zone. Call it, you know, 160 to 200. If we break down, then I would be looking for dips. So, you know, when this thing spikes down, sometimes what you can do is you can, you know, put in a kind of just an out of the park order down here for some of these quick, because sometimes you notice with Litecoin you get these quick spikes down right here and here. So like you could get another quick one here or something like that. They're very brief. You can't really react to them. You just have to work an order in this area. So if you wanted to throw an order in like at 140 to catch a bounce like that, it's possible you might catch one of those this week. Otherwise, I think, honestly though, I'm looking at some more consolidation. I think we start to turn up here. It's been kind of lockstep with Bitcoin. If Bitcoin's moving up, then Litecoin tends to, although it's been a little more muted as of late. But you just have to keep in mind, when you're in Litecoin, it's almost always better to take advantage of a pop in price. If we go back, you know, look at back here when we almost hit 100, right? Kind of looks similar. So you almost just want to take advantage of these really big spikes up and they can last several days. This one, the move started off like a move there on the 23rd and ended about almost 2 weeks later, peaking out. So the beginning of September, and that started a really broader correction. But you know, that's what Litecoin kind of does. So week ahead, I think more consolidation for Litecoin. But if Bitcoin turns up, if that cycle up happens, then I would suspect that Litecoin would probably follow suit to a certain extent. So we'll see how that plays out. So that's pretty much it, guys. I'm thinking we're going to see some up movement here in the next 24 hours with Bitcoin. I think the whole crypto space has been doing pretty good across the board. When Bitcoin is consolidating, and if you look at the market cap, I mean, this looks very similar to a Bitcoin chart. And but what happens in here is you get some really good alt plays, and that's what we've been doing in the room, and some really good percentage gains. So when the consolidation is taking place like that, and the bear market is over for alts, you know, not every alt. I mean, there's still a lot of alts that are consolidating or kind of going sideways after they kind of peaked out earlier in January. But we've had some movers. And we'll cover some interesting coins this week. So tune in for that. Thanks for watching, guys. Please hit subscribe and like. Really appreciate that. And I'll catch you on the next video. Take care, guys. Bye.